Room 237 is a JumperScape audio production. There's more beyond the door than you are prepared for, stranger. Welcome to Room 237.
Hello and welcome back into Room 237. Who are you and what have you done with my girlfriend?
I don't know. I was just told to be places and I was there and here I am.
Yeah, I'm shit. I'm James. Jesus.
I'm Connor.
Oh man. Ashton cannot be with us today, so it's gonna be a special episode of Room 237. So today we are covering Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which is, it's technically a horror movie.
Calling that a horror movie is
It's technically. It's directed by Eli Craig. It came out in 2010. And so the general premise of this movie is you have two hillbillies and a group of college kids all going into the woods for a little cabin time. And there's a lot of misunderstandings and hijinks ensue from there.
It is all misunderstandings.
So if it wasn't obvious, this is a horror comedy. This is not really a horror movie. It's more,
It's a fun watch.
it's framed like a horror. It's a great parody.
It's a fun watch. It's a great watch.
Oh no, it's so fun. We had a couple brewskis and some pizza. It's a perfect movie for you and the boys at home, you know? Like and so yeah, I before we just get into the plot thick of it, how many college kids and a wood chipper out of 10 would you give this movie?
I'd give it an 8. 8 kids and a wood chipper out of 10.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, buddy. It's a solid 8.
It's a good 8.
It can't like get any higher than an 8 just because of what it is.
No,
But
in no way, shape, or form could that be someone's perfect movie.
oh no, yeah.
But it's still a great movie.
It's like, if you like, this is like the definition of you're looking for a fun movie to watch. This is fun. Like, it's just fun. It's hilarious. The actors all do like such a fun job. Like, even like the college kids whose names I don't remember are hilarious.
I only remember Chad.
Yeah, exactly. You have Chad and you have
Todd.
Allison.
There's a Todd.
There's a Todd. Allison's like the final girl, I guess. So she's like memorable.
Yeah,
But
she wasn't in any danger at all at any point in the whole movie, except for the part where she fell onto a rock and knocked her own self out.
it's beautifully done.
They all put themselves into danger.
Oh man. So this movie opens up with like this kind of ominous like newscast of like some hillbilly murder house, you know,
Memorial killings.
the Memorial Day killings. It's very on the nose. It's supposed to like set up an ominous tone for the movie, and it obviously it doesn't last. Because we pretty much immediately we meet Tucker and Dale, and we meet the college kids. The college kids are on the road,
Being the most stereotypical, unrealistic version of college kids you could ever imagine.
It's incredible. They're like, they're just being so like, everyone's a cliche in this movie, and it's incredible because they're driving, doing, you know, college kid things.
Road trip.
Yeah, this is the best days of our lives, guys. Like, and then like this pickup truck comes up next to them, and you just see Tucker and Dale Dale's holding a beer, like staring, just like
And on the can, it just says beer.
It's beer. I like how they couldn't get the license for Miller Lite because it's clearly a Miller Lite can, but later they straight up have PBR and it's like a whole joke.
I just can't get over how like dumb that they look. Like the most stereotypical looking hillbillies in this truck, just passing college kids, just.
And as they pass, like all the kids are like, "That was scary, guys.
Creepy, very creepy."
And then someone in the back's like, "Oh no, what? We forgot the beer." So it very much follows the usual formula of any cabin in the woods cabin type horror movie, where they even of course have to stop at the old country gas station, and
they just, I think they purposely go into all the horror tropes just as hard as they could, just with the type of movie that it is.
Like this kid has there's a kid like doing like well water outside, and like they go in and there's no refrigeration units anywhere. Like it's just like this derelict store,
that real back country,
and everyone's giving them that side eye, and like you're thinking like, oh, this is a scary store, and then meanwhile it's just like the cashier's like, you see these kids? Look at the rack on that one.
I don't know about you, but I couldn't help myself but to listen to the really long list of items that one person was saying to another while the whole conversation was going. I'm sitting there listening to this list that is completely unimportant.
Yeah, because Tucker's there to buy things, and like the thing is, it sounds like scary hillbilly killer stuff because it's like got a hacksaw, rope, like, and then we meet Dale, and he's like, "Look at this pickled eggs, Tucker."
6 pounds of
it's a
pickled
6-pounder.
He's sitting there, you're sitting there putting down these eggs and talking
like
nonstop.
They don't keep the spooky appearance up on Tucker and Dale for very long. No. Like pretty much as soon as the pickled eggs happens, it's like they're hanging out by the truck and the college kids are all back out by their van, and Dale's like, "Man, you see that girl over there? It's Allison, our final girl," in quotes. And it's like, "Why don't you just go talk to her?" And it's like, just, smile and laugh. That's all you need to do.
Go be yourself.
Go be yourself. So Dale walks over with a scythe in his hand. He's like, I forget what he even says, but he just says something like,
"You guys going camping?
You guys going camping?" Like they all just like, "Guys, get in the truck." And this is gonna be such a weird episode because I feel like me and Connor are just gonna kind of tell this like it's a real story, like we know Tucker and Dale personally. Like,
hey, my cat's named Dale.
This sounds like the kind of things that Dale would get up to.
Dude, this is definitely all Dale things.
I watched this movie and I did kind of think to myself, I could see me and you getting in a situation like this.
Who's getting their fingers chopped off?
You. No, me.
Let's say I was able to identify like everything he was pulling out. Like, I don't want to talk about the end of the movie, but all the items he was picking up, like, oh, those are tree climbers. Oh, it's a welding mask. Oh, he can't see out the welding mask.
You have more experience with the gear. And this movie is just beautiful. So, yeah, Dale blew his chance right there. It's okay. He'll get another chance.
Somehow.
So these kids are going to, fancy schmancy, nice cabin. And Tucker, he just bought a cabin.
Did we even see their cabin?
I don't think we really
never saw
did.
where
they
were
might have been
staying.
just camping. I don't even remember.
I don't remember seeing tents at all.
Oh, I think the pizza got there around that time, so we were a little distracted.
Yeah.
But so Tucker bought a cabin, and that's why they're out there, because they're going to go fix it up. It'll be, he calls it their vacation home.
This cabin is already stereotypical run-of-the-mill horror movie cabin.
It's
all the inside
completely derelict. There's like bones hanging from the roof, like
newspaper articles of like murder, and I think they're referencing the Memorial Day killings, like being there at the start of the movie.
They walk in and Dale's like, Tucker, this place is beautiful. He's just like, it's so big.
It's like a mansion.
It's like a mansion. And so they're just there to do some work and, fix it all up. But, they like the charm and they're just ready to get the place up and running as a nice vacation home, where they can go on their little brocations.
Then they decide to go fishing.
Exactly. They decide to go fishing at the same time the kids decide to go skinny dipping. And they are so like they're just hanging out, and one of the kids goes, "I know, let's go skinny dipping." Like it's just.
I thought it was where another dude was like,
"Yeah, skinny dipping."
But you're not supposed to answer.
So the kids are all doing their thing, and Tucker and Dale are fishing, and as Allison's up on a rock, like getting ready to get in, Tucker. I love Dale so much because Tucker is just like, Dale, look at that, look, and Dale like goes, he like covers his eyes,
Tucker,
and like Tucker keeps looking, so Dale, he gets mad, he goes, Tucker, and just like hits him, and then Allison like notices, and then she gets scared and she slips and falls in the water.
Rightfully so. If I was on top of a rock, I look over and I see just two hillbillies oogling me. That is pretty scary.
That is pretty scary. I would probably also fall. But they're arguing, and then they notice, hey, she hasn't come up yet.
She ain't coming up yet.
So this is I mean, you could argue the judgmental stuff was already a misunderstanding, but this is the first real misunderstanding.
The first big one.
Because they go and they pull her out of the water, and then they get spotted. And to them, it just looks like they're pulling her body into a boat.
Hey, we got your friend.
They're going, hey, we got your friend. It just cuts to them. Oh my God, they got Allison.
Why are they running?
Why are they running? What's wrong with them? This movie is so good.
It's golden.
So this is going to be a short episode. I'm not going to lie, but
it's going to be a fun one.
We're just telling you what we saw and laughing about it. There's not any analysis here. I mean, there is there's about like little. There is a message about
don't judge a book by
its cover. We're all more similar than you think.
I was thinking about this episode versus my last episode here, my Babadook episode. I'm not going to be as well spoken in this. There's no way.
There's not much to speak about because the message is pretty in your face. It's
pretty easy message.
Yeah, it's don't judge a book by its cover. And, I guess at the end, there's maybe a small, probably pretty half-baked message about generational trauma, but I think that's giving the movie too much credit to say that.
They just made a movie make it, shoot it, we're done. Is how I see that.
It's just someone thought in their head, what if we made a slasher, but it was all a big misunderstanding? Because that's essentially what this is. So they take Allison to the cabin and they're just, nursing her back to health. And
you want pancakes? Starts screaming. Oh, you're afraid of pancakes?
Oh, you don't like pancakes? I'll make something else. Damn it, Dale! You should have asked. And she goes, pancakes?
Pancakes? What?
And starts to realize kind of what's going on here.
The only reasonable one of the group.
Oh, by far. So this would be a good time to highlight the absolute maniac, Chad.
Popped collar.
He has a popped collar on his polo. That's how you know he's the worst.
24/7. That thing is up.
Even when he's all roughed up, it's still popped. And so earlier in the film, he made advances on Allison, don't pretend you're better than everyone else. or no, keep up the act that you're not better than everyone else.
We're cut from a different cloth, you and I.
You and I. We're better than everyone else.
Did he even elaborate as to why?
No, I think
No.
he's just a narcissist.
Probably.
He's got issues. He's got a lot of issues. He is a bit too excited about this whole killing hillbillies idea. He's starting to rally the troops of college kids for slaughter. So go ahead.
We only get one chance at this. We had a chance to live. What?
There's no rules out here. He immediately turns into Apocalypse Now. Like
there was no like transitional period of this might be okay. He just went into full doomer mode.
he was just waiting for this moment already. Like he was so excited.
He's basically that kid who would watch all the bad movie situations, and then bad movie situation happens. He's excited.
Damn excited.
He's the doomsday prepper that jumps to the conclusion way too quick and hides in his bunker at the first sign of danger.
And so the kids, they like surround the cabin. Tucker's out in the back cutting wood, and Allison and Dale are playing a board game. And the board game's important. And one of the kids is like, "Hey, it's just a cabin. Like, this is probably just a misunderstanding." This poor kid was onto something.
He was.
So that kid is the volunteer to go walk up and knock on the door. And unfortunately, as he starts walking, you hear a chainsaw revving up.
I love how they kept the chainsaw in the background, kind of let it be the environment.
And poor Tucker, he cuts into a bee's nest, and the bees start swarming him. So he runs around the corner towards the kid, flailing his arms with the chainsaw, like looking like Leatherface.
Yeah,
just like, ah, ah!
That was I almost feel like that had to be a reference.
Oh no, definitely.
That
He
had
was
to be.
swinging it around like
Like a crazed hillbilly maniac.
exactly.
At least that's what it looks like.
And I love that this moment because Tucker it looks like he's chasing the kid. And then he catches up to the kid and just is looking at him.
Like, what are you doing out here?
And then the kid's looking back. But then the kid runs right into a fucking tree
Impaling
and
himself.
impales himself. Oh! And Tucker just keeps running. But then, like, the kid has a bee land on his nose. And, like, I assume the implication is he understood what was actually happening, like, right at the end.
He had to have. They had to imply that with that. It's the only thing I could think of why they would have had that shot.
And it's this is pretty much what this movie is this just keeps happening.
Over and over. Although, one of the deaths, completely unavoidable.
Yeah.
Which one do you think I'm referencing?
Completely unavoidable.
Yeah.
Should
Should we just go over all the deaths?
The weed whacker?
I was thinking the gun.
Oh yeah. That one was actually just completely like
Lunacy.
complete just idiocy. So they sent one of the other kids to go get help because you always have the kid to go get help.
He took his truck. There goes their only way of escape.
So they're stuck in the woods. But so they regroup. Tucker gets back to the cabin. And he's like, "Oh, bee's nest. I saw your friends out there. I don't know what they're doing." Like, and so Allison is like, fine. She's like, okay, let me go. Let me go find them. And here's Tucker and Dale's biggest mistake. They should have just let her go. but Dale doesn't want her to leave. So he's like, "No, we'll go find your friends."
Yeah, honestly, from there, I honestly think the rest of everything could have been avoided.
Yeah. Because as they're walking through the woods, the kids are hiding behind like a log, and they only hear the most unfortunate part of their discussion. Because Dale is talking about the board game they were playing. He was like, "Yeah, I was beating her up real good." It's just like, That's all you ever do is you beat people up.
That's what that was. I missed that a little bit.
He's like, yeah, I was beating her real good. You know, I'll finish her when I get back. They're like, oh my God, they're going to kill her.
Whoa.
And I feel like this movie is plot contriveness, the movie, but that's okay. I don't care. Like, every unfortunate worst case scenario just keeps happening in this situation. So
almost to the point to where you can almost predict what's going to happen.
Yeah. Because they're calling out, college kids, where are you? Like, it's like, well, you know, I'll leave a message. He's like, well, with what? And he's like, oh, there's an axe here. He carves a message into a log, and the message just says, we got your friend.
With the your and yours, you are. And then how'd they spell
And he spelled friend wrong. It's spelled Friend. We got your friend.
I mean, he did drop out after, I think he said 3rd grade.
Yeah, it is true. He only has a 3rd grade education.
But he remembers everything he hears.
Exactly. He remembers weird stuff.
Which comes in at the end of the movie.
That's the thing. They don't forget. They don't forget to use things later.
Very good at setups. I'll see that.
So Chad has like the whole plan now. So
he's got a plan. He's got a gang. He just needs money.
I don't think he actually needs money though, but I get your joke.
No, I just want to make a Red Dead joke. But oh well.
It's fair. So they like surround the house. And they're going to ambush him. And it goes about as wrong as humanly possible. You have the one kid who charges at Dale with a spear, and Dale has a shovel. Oh, yeah. Wait, I forgot. Yeah, they're digging a hole.
An outhouse hole.
An outhouse hole. And the first thing they see is just her digging a hole and Dale standing there. So they're like, oh, my God, they're making her dig her own grave.
It's just...
It's so good.
So bad.
So a kid just starts charging with a spear, and Dale like accidentally like
he's got the shoulder on his shovel and just turns and hits Allison
in the face, and the kid knocks them both into the outhouse hole, and the kid impales himself on his own spear
and is just falling onto Dale, bleeding all over him
profusely and slowly. Poor Dale is.
Dude, he's going to need therapy after that.
Yeah, Tucker seems like he can handle it, but poor Dale, he's a sensitive soul. Okay,
he seems like a teddy bear.
Exactly. Meanwhile, in Tucker's world, he's chipping wood, and one kid starts charging at him, and right as he moves to get more wood, the kid dives headfirst into the wood chipper.
He bends over, hits his low. He basically got high load, but load.
Bro got load into the wood chipper.
He trips over Tucker, just falls in this wood chipper.
So, of course, none of the kids see him dive into the wood chipper. All they see is now Dale holding his legs, making it look like he's pushing him into the wood. Tucker holding his legs, making it look like he's pushing him into the wood chipper.
In reality, he's trying to pull him out, but he's gone at that point.
And when the wood chipper finally jams, he goes, "You all right?"
After seeing the other half of him come out the chute near the other end.
And also hit a girl in the face.
Oh, yeah.
I think that girl's name was Chloe.
I think so.
She looks like a Chloe.
I don't remember.
The only important one's Chad and Allison. The other ones are just guys and girls.
It was Todd who had the spear.
Todd had the spear.
I don't know why I remembered that.
God, of course his name is Chad. It's like perfect. And this was 2010. I feel like this was before the Chad stereotype existed.
The Chad meme.
Exactly.
I love the Chad meme. I would love to see someone make it apply to this situation.
So the movie kind of slows down for like a second as they're all back into their divided areas.
Oh yeah, they all start forming their own conclusions about what's happening.
Yeah, so Chad, this is where we get kind of a little taste of his backstory, because he told a story earlier about the Memorial Day massacre, and he clearly has a vendetta against hillbillies. We'll find out more later.
Calls them your kind, which is insane.
It's they turned a hillbilly into like a race in this movie.
I know it's crazy to listen to. Like,
I mean, you might say there's a message.
Like, what do you mean you're kind? You're the same.
You're kind. God, it's so good. So the kids do eventually, I'm probably skipping ahead a bit, but there's a bit of nonsense kind of here. The kids capture Tucker.
No, they had the dog first.
Oh yeah, first they capture their dog, and we get this like Waco standoff, like a shitty little Waco. And Tucker is like,
how are they shooting at each other?
Oh, I skipped way ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chad, once they regroup, Chad's like doubling down. He's like, okay, we got to go back. And it's like, and they're like, no, we need the cops. And meanwhile, in the cabin, they're like, we should call the cops. And like, but Tucker, he's a smart guy. He's like, we can't call the cops. What are we supposed to say? We're minding our own business. We've had a doozy of a day, and a bunch of kids came and just started killing themselves in our yard. But that's what happened. It's like,
I was sitting there just chopping wood or throwing wood into the chipper, and he just dives head first.
They have a suicide pact. That's what it is, and they want to kill her because she's not doing it.
Like, and then Todd, he just ran over. He just fell in the hole and spared himself. It's awful.
This movie is, you just need to watch it, by the way. If you're not,
you need to.
If you haven't seen it, just go watch it, please. So eventually the kid they sent off for help comes back with a cop. And it's so funny because they're all going to the cop for help, and Chad's like still in the woods, and he's like, cowards. Like, he's gone
fools.
He's gone fully native at this point.
At this point, he's gone. He has lost the plot.
So they tell him, they're killing people, and the cop is like, okay, you kids get in the back, and we'll go check it out. And he pulls up, and right as they're dragging the poor wood chipper kid's legs away,
just completely sawed in half,
completely red-handed. Like, this cop is very chill for what he stumbles onto, because he gets out and he's like, "What?"
Is it bad that I thought it was crazy that he didn't just pull a gun right away?
Yeah, it is pretty crazy that he didn't. That's why he's like kind of weirdly chill about this whole thing, because like, I thought, well, he knows them.
Yeah, he does.
He's like, because they're like, and it's funny because he's like, what are we supposed to tell him? That we had a woozy doozy of a day? And he was like, well, officer, we've had a woozy doozy of a day. Here we are, minding our own business.
In our yard.
And these kids just hop on in here and kill themselves all over my property.
He just goes, that's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, or something along the lines of that.
Like, you have to think I'm an idiot to believe that. Like, he's like, no, you're not. Just believe us. He's like, oh, we got the girl inside right now. Oh, okay. And this cop is very chill. He's not even going to cuff him and check it out himself. He's just like, show me. But, he goes in, he sees her pupils dilate, and he's like, oh, she's not dead.
She's not brain dead.
That's good. And meanwhile, we were told about this beam that needed secured. And the cop is like, well, boys, it looks like this was all just a big misunderstanding. And he puts his arm, and they're like, no!
And he's about to lean. They're like, no, wait.
He leans on this beam, and of course, a plank full of nails just swings on down and hits him in the noggin.
Not
poor
instantly
guy,
killing him, which was insane to see.
Well, think about it. They're nails. And they all went into his frontal lobe. So I feel like he was basically just lobotomized, and then he died.
I made it back to the car and tried the radio for help.
Yeah.
Something was still there.
He got to the car and he was like, ruh, ruh. and it just died. And the kids are like, "Oh my god, they killed him!
They got the cop! They got the cop!"
And Chad appears, and the kid gets the gun.
It was one of the kids in the car.
The kid who got the cop got the gun, and he starts pointing it at Tucker and Dale, and it's not firing. And then Dale's just
Dale,
like,
the good Samaritan.
Dale's such a pure soul. He's like, "Oh, you got the safety off. You got
safety on the side there. You gotta turn that off."
And then, the kid's like pointing it at his head, trying to take the safety off. And then, of course, what else would happen? He blows his brains out.
In my opinion, the most unstoppable death in that movie.
Because it was fully that kid's own stupidity.
Oh, yeah. It was all him.
Everything else, like, you could attribute a little bit to bad timing or unfortunate, like,
Wrong
circumstances.
Wrong place, wrong time.
No, this kid was just an idiot.
No, he shot himself.
But, Chad, being the remorseless Chad he is, just goes over and immediately picks up the gun and starts shooting at him. And so they get in cover, and that's when they take the dog hostage.
Mm-hmm. This is where the Waco standoff happens.
So Chad's like, this dog is adorable, by the way.
Jangers.
He's like
dog.
a boxer pit bull kind of mix, I think.
One eye.
He has one eye.
One big blue eye.
Named Jangers. And so they're holding him hostage, and Tucker's just like, "Okay, here's the nail gun. You cover me."
And while they're sitting there, one round accidentally discharges and flies across Tucker's face.
He's
like, dude. Sorry.
Just sorry. So here I am. I've seen this movie a couple times, but I kind of forget most of it because it's been a while. Here I am thinking like, oh, they're going to negotiate or something. But no, Tucker just Dale immediately just pokes up, starts knocking out the glass, and just starts firing the nail gun. And so this starts a little shootout, and Tucker's trying to like army crawl his way around. He has like a branch, and he's just like walking with the branch in front of his face.
Meanwhile, they're like trying to, don't shoot my dog. I'll be very mad if you shoot my dog.
It's like, if you kill my dog, well, I'll be really mad.
I'll be very upset.
And Tucker somehow manages to get all the way to the dog and free him, even using a literal tree branch.
A comical piece of camouflage.
But unfortunately, it's not enough for him to get away, so Tucker gets captured.
Yeah. He gets knocked out.
And they string him up upside down. And they cut off 2 of his fingers.
His bowling fingers.
Oh, man. Because Allison finally wakes up, and he's explaining, like, what's been going on. He's like, your friends, do they take medication? It's like, no. It's like, well, I think they forgot to take them.
And she goes out,
sees all the bodies,
and picks up the little message or the 2 fingers. We have your friend.
We have your friend.
Come and get him.
Come get him. And here's the thing. Another situation where obviously Dale is convinced that these kids are psychotic, which one of them is.
Yeah,
but,
rightfully so.
I feel like if Allison just went, and maybe this could have been avoided, but also if Allison just went, she would have tripped the trap they had set.
She would have died.
Because Dale had a near miss. He finds Tucker hanging upside down, which is weird that they didn't leave one person back to guard Tucker, but
Yeah, I found that weird too. But hey, dumb college kids.
But yeah, they somehow did some fucking Rube Goldberg like
honestly,
rope trap.
That was, what kind of setup did they have?
I don't know.
For it to stick into the ground like that and go through his pants.
Yeah, it launches a fucking stake that goes right through his pants in a sensitive area. It narrowly misses because he's not, quote unquote, hung like a
horse.
Hung like a horse.
Like, man, I'm so glad I'm saying this right now. But I'm so happy I ain't hung like a horse right now or something along the lines of that.
I think it was like it was a weirder animal. It was like hung like a grizzly bear or something like that.
It was an animal of some sort.
But he frees Tucker. But meanwhile, they're
I remember Tucker kind of going, "That's funny," while he's hanging there.
The kids use this diversion to break into the house, and they're like going in, Allison. Allison's just chilling in the living room. She's like,
Just staring out a window.
just like, Chad? And he's like, she's like, there's no one home.
There's no one here. Just talk.
Oh, and they just get up. And this is when we get our little backstory, because
Yeah.
Tucker and Dale get home after Allison gets accused of Stockholm syndrome. And she's like, she manages to convince them to just sit down and talk it out, So we have this just really awkward moment with Chad just angrily sitting at one end of the table, and Dale just being Dale. And it's like, okay, we're just going to put each other in each other's shoes. You tell your side of the story, and you tell your side of the story. Chad, you want to start? Before I was born.
Let's not start that long ago. This is important.
So we find out that Chad's parents were victims of the Memorial Day massacre, and that, to his knowledge, his mom was pregnant with him when it happened, and that they killed his father before he ever was born. And that's why he hates hillbillies.
Yep.
That's his whole backstory.
Yep. As far as we know.
They don't really do this exercise right, because they don't really tell their side of the story at all.
No, not at all. They completely missed the whole point of that exercise.
Yeah, because Chad stops there, and then Dale's like, I won't ever hurt anybody.
I couldn't even hurt a fish.
Right, Tucker? Yeah, he couldn't even hurt a fish.
Okay.
They have this moment earlier in the movie where, like, Dale's like, I don't even like fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Tucker's like, what?
You didn't mean that, did you? Oh, did I hurt your feelings? Yeah, you kind of did. Oh, I'm sorry.
They are like the nicest guys on the planet. Like here's the thing, not even just by like a hillbilly standard, by any standard.
Yeah, by any standards, great people all around.
They're just so nice. Like, almost unbelievably nice. Like, they're obviously supposed to be the complete opposite of their of the role they are like seen to, like the role they are supposed to be in the movie.
And they have their moments of just incredible luck.
I know. It's so funny.
The complete opposite.
It's complete, utter, beautiful luck for Tucker and Dale for the most part. I mean, they take their licks, but they live.
Yeah.
And it's the complete opposite for all these college kids. So as these discussions are happening, there's two more college kids that are approaching that were like hanging back. And it's like, remember?
Was it 3?
No, there's 2 in right now, Chad and that one girl. And then there's 2 out, which is the one guy with the dreads and the blonde one.
Yeah, she got covered in the blood earlier.
Yeah. So they're outside. It's just like, remember? Chad said if they weren't back in 15 minutes, that we would now come in guns a-blazing. But you don't have a gun.
What did he say back?
Oh, God, it was great, and I'm forgetting it. Oh, it was a good line. You'll just have to experience it yourself by watching the movie.
Yep, go watch it yourself. We recommend.
But they, as these discussions are happening, they barge in. He barges in with a weed whacker and goes for Tucker, and Tucker ducks, and he just scrambles that one girl's face, who is already in the cabin. And it's like,
he literally says, "Why didn't you duck?
Why didn't you duck?" And Chad, being the psycho he is, he takes this opportunity to flip the table on top of Tucker and on top of Dale and starts swinging at him with an axe. And not very cool.
He did a very skillful dodge.
He did.
That table.
He did.
Very close.
And like, it only gets worse because
they were dumping gas everywhere.
Yeah, they were dumping gas everywhere before
they did all the stories and everything before they came back.
And I forget how they even started the fire. I think they tried to throw like a...
Wasn't someone threw a lantern, I think?
Oh, yeah, someone... who threw the lantern? Was it Chad?
Probably Chad, let's be honest.
Chad threw a lantern, and it missed, and it landed by Dreadlock Guy, and it caught his leg on fire, and he's like, starts freaking out. And and Tucker and Dale are like, it's just your leg. Just stop. Just stop, drop, and roll.
Stop, drop, and roll, buddy. Just, come on. Just put it out.
And then and then the blonde girl goes, and she grabs a mason jar off the counter that she obviously thinks is water. And they're like, no, don't use that. Just whoosh.
Probably moonshine.
Probably moonshine. Very strong moonshine at that. And it engulfs him in flames. And so she just panics and sits in a corner and starts smoking.
Mm-hmm. And it lights a trail from his leg all the way to her. And sitting next to her is a just pile of containers of gasoline containers.
And then Tucker and Dale grab Allison and get her out.
Like, oh, I knew it was a bad idea keeping them there.
It's like... That's my favorite part about this movie. Every time something unfortunate happens, they point it out. They just go, oh, it's a shame that it's like, I know we shouldn't have left those there. Like
the most reasonable things anyone would say throughout this whole movie.
And so the cabin explodes, and they're all outside.
My cabin.
Your cabin.
I
And
don't even know
Allison she just like apologized, I think. Like, and it's just like, but then,
oh, well, that's right, because
Chad starts getting up.
Yeah, because the girl that was smoking, she grabbed Chad's leg and says, "Help me!" What do you say back?
He says, "Get off me, you nasty bitch!"
You disgusting bitch.
Like, and kicks her, and then Chad, he looks like he's down, but he's not down. He starts getting up. And like he's obviously in pain, and he looks like Two-Face now.
Mm-hmm.
And Dale's like, "Oh, maybe we should help him." And he's like, "Ah!" And they're like, "Okay, never mind. Let's get in the truck." And Dale, please, just watch where you're going when you're driving, dude. He's kind of too busy showboating, and he runs into a tree. I think it was a tree.
Like it looked like a fallen down tree almost.
Yeah, something like that.
It seemed like part of it was in the windshield.
And he comes to, and Allison's gone. Sanger's there licking his face, so that's something. Jangers. What did I call him? Jangers. And Tucker's down by the tree, and I remember first time I watched this being so scared that he was dying. I was like, Tucker.
I thought one of them was gonna go to it. I'm like, no.
He's like, and Tucker gives him the words of encouragement he needs. This scene is genuinely kind of sweet. Like
I feel like if we're looking for a message right here, would have been, "You're more than what you are.
Yeah,
you're better than what you think."
He tells him, he's like, remember when we were kids and we go frog catching, and you'd always catch more frogs than me, and I always say I let you do that. It's not true. You were always quicker than me. You're better than you think. All right, Dale?
Like, what?
That girl, I see the way she looks at you. She likes you. And this gives him the confidence to go get her. And so that ends up at a lumber mill. And we get this fucking sick suit up scene.
You want a killer hillbilly? I'll give you a killer hillbilly.
So yeah, he puts on tree climbing boots, welding mask, tool belt, all kinds of hillbilly stuff.
I hate to be that guy, but they usually just strap those to the side of your boots. The tree climbing things.
Well, I called them boots, you know.
You already had boots on.
You know?
Sorry to be that guy.
You're being that guy.
I'm being that guy.
I'm not a hillbilly. I don't know what these things are.
I hunted when I was a kid, so.
But, so yeah, now he looks like hillbilly Darth Vader with a chainsaw.
Rightfully, he looks pretty good. I ain't gonna lie.
No, he does.
Badass.
He does.
Even had the backwards hat with the welding hat on too.
Meanwhile, Chad's gone full lunatic. He has her straight up in a 1930s silent film trap. she's strapped to a board of wood on a table saw that's gonna slowly move towards the saw, and he does some really gross stuff like lick her face, which is kind of uncomfortable. It's really
it was not good to watch.
They make some decisions at the end of this movie that are a little questionable.
I bet they got paid well.
Oh yeah,
especially Allison.
It's more like the most of the movie, while it's a lot of death, is still rather lighthearted. But then they have Chad just go and start like
off his
sucking her face, which is uncomfortable.
And he's got half of his face.
Yeah, and he's like, "I want you to beg."
Stop. That's what.
That's it. It's not good enough though. He's like fucking scary. But you know, he doesn't got a face anymore, so I guess he just doesn't feel a need to hold back at all.
Yeah.
But Dale comes in. Chad's hiding away somewhere, and he scares the shit out of Allison. And he's like, "Oh no, it's me. I just thought I'd look intimidating." It's like, was it?
How'd I do? How'd I look? He's like, "Yeah, you look good."
It's funny because he basically takes off almost all the gear here, except the tree climbers. I didn't understand the belt he put on earlier. I think it was just a tool belt or some kind. And he starts trying to let her out, and then Chad attacks. That sounds like a hilarious movie as well.
From the ceiling.
From the ceiling, yeah.
He grabs a beam and
it's like fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah, double foot to the chest, kicks this man, and that will put anyone down. I don't care who you are.
So yeah, of course we're having now this struggle, and Dale gets a good lick in with the boots. He kicks him right in the knee, and that looks very painful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, his knee should not have been functioning after that.
Yeah, but Chad's doing a bit too good of a job with keep away, so you start to get a little nervous here.
Mm-hmm.
But then fucking Dale from downtown throws an axe that perfectly cuts the rope off.
Dude, even he like, did I just do that?
And she gets away, and they kind of get the jump on Chad, and they run.
He tosses him the chainsaw.
Yeah, he tosses the chainsaw at him.
I'm like, why?
But then they get up into this like other room, and they find a very conveniently placed newspaper, and they finally get a look at the hillbilly, and it looks just like Chad. And then it says that there was one survivor and that she was R-worded by the
essayed.
Yeah. I guess
the same thing.
Yeah,
I feel like one gets a point across.
Yeah. I just realized R-word sounds like I'm saying another word. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
She was essayed by the killer, and we see the killer looks just like Chad. And well, kind of like gross insinuation. The joke they do is so funny.
Oh, it's hilarious. Oh, they also, I don't know if you caught this, but they also mentioned it was the same cop that showed up earlier.
Oh yeah, it was the same cop from earlier.
Yeah.
That got him. And so Chad chainsaws his way up there, and they're like, "Look at the newspaper.
Look at the truth. Look at it.
You are half hillbilly."
Wait a minute.
He's like, "No, they lied all my life." It's like,
basically, you are a father to him, like Star Wars.
Yeah.
You're half hillbilly.
And once again, they treat hillbilly like it's a race. You're half hillbilly. It's in your blood.
Why didn't they tell me this?
It'll show up on a DNA test. And so earlier we find out during that negotiation scene that he can't have chamomile tea because it makes his asthma act up.
Oh no, they figured that out when they were having tea earlier.
Yeah.
At the meeting.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay. I heard it different.
Tucker found some up there, also conveniently in that room, and he pocket sands him with it, and he starts freaking out. It's like, he says, "The active ingredient in chamomile tea is this. It's known to cause anaphylactic shock in those with sensitivity to it.
In such rare cases."
I remember weird stuff. and then this line is so good. He's like, "It's okay. He'll be fine as long as we get him his inhaler." And then he just falls out of a window and dies.
And they're like, or not.
Yeah.
In the movie.
And so Tucker and Dale live, and so does Allison, but we love Tucker and Dale.
Mm-hmm.
How
about this part where they're after like he fell and like, or not? They just close the window.
just awkwardly like. So I love that they cut to this news report and the lady's like, in what appears to be a mass suicide, a hysterical mass suicide along with a deranged psychotic killer. Yeah. Like, and so Tucker's in the hospital. He gets his fingers reattached. By his fingers, I mean, one of them is his finger. The other one, he's like, look at that. I don't remember it looking like that, though.
Who else lost a finger?
I'm guessing maybe in the explosion, that Chloe girl maybe lost a finger because the finger is painted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he's like, tell me you asked her out. And he's like, no, I didn't really get a chance to. But, you know, she mentioned she liked bowling. So we're going bowling.
And at that point, me and James were like, yeah! They're my guy!
So this scene is wild, though, because it's heartwarming. Then there's this really fucked up thing happening they're bowling with some other hillbilly named BJ.
His name was, okay. Yeah, his name was BJ.
And so he's like, oh, you lucky man. He's like, just look at the size of them bowling fingers. He's like, you just gotta be yourself. Go here. It's like, I'm gonna go talk to her. Yeah, go talk to her. And as they're having their sweet moment, where he's like confessing his feelings, and she's like, I feel the same way.
They have their big kiss.
BJ goes to that girl, knocks her out, and starts dragging her away.
And everyone's just watching.
And they're just still kissing.
They're
and
like,
then he cut to credits.
They're like, should we help? Nah.
What? Excuse me?
It's your friend.
You're just going to let him do whatever?
They're having their moment.
They're having their moment. So, yeah, that was Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Yeah,
that was something.
It's a movie. It's fun.
It's one of the few reverse slashers that I know of.
Yeah.
I think that's a good category for it.
Yeah, a reverse slasher. It's probably the only one.
Yep.
So yeah, if you're looking for a good laugh, a good play on the genre, because it like just perfectly messes with all of the tropes, and this is definitely a movie to pick. But yeah, short episode today, but things happen the way they happen, and this movie doesn't have much to talk about besides me just gushing about all the funny lines in it.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think there's much of a deeper message in this one.
No, it's just don't judge a book by its cover.
Believe in yourself.
And you know what? That's all you need to know. That's important. I say it's important. So yeah. Well, that's all I really have to say.
Okay.
Do you have any other thoughts?
No. No, not at all.
Well, if you'd like to connect with us, you can go to JumperScape.com. You can find our Discord links there, all of our merchandise, all of our good stuff. If you want to support us on Patreon as well, it's patreon.com/JumperScape. And of course, if a bunch of college kids in the woods are just chasing around and you're just so tired that you need some energy, look no further than Glitch Energy. That's Glitch with a Y, and use code Connor141 at checkout. How's that spelled?
That is spelled CONNOR141.
Thank you guys for coming in today. Hope you had a great holiday, a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. We'll see you next week in room 237.
Thank you for joining us this evening, stranger. If you enjoyed your time with us, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/JumperScape or join the community at discord.gg/JumperScape. We thank you for your listenership and hope you enjoyed.